Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the pit. Today I have a very, very interesting show, and I'm kind of all excited and everything. I mean, you know, above normal, because I'm always excited about something. How you doing back there, John? Is the heat doing you any good?
Actually, I don't know. Something happened here to the mic, the camera. I'm gonna have to start again. Oh. I'm serious because it just got blurry. I don't know why it got blurry for.
Was I just too?
Yeah, you did that and it cleared. Okay, it cleared up. It cleared up. So you want to continue or do you want to?
Do we need to start over?
No, we could go on. Yeah, we could go on. It's all cleared up, but somehow it just got discombobulated. So don't do that again. All right? Don't do that again.
He said, just don't do that again. You know I'm excitable. So today, welcome to the pit again, and my guest is Wastewater Bob. That's what he told me. The people call him now. His name is Robert Stewart, but he said people call him Wastewater Bob. So I don't know. I want to call him the water guru, the water expert, you know, all that kind of stuff. But welcome to the pit.
Thank you, Lisa.
So I saw you do an interview with Art Woodson.
Right.
You was excited. I was excited. And I was just like, I have to have the guy. Sort of like that commercial says, I have to have him, you know. So let's talk about, you know, the main topic is the water of Flint. And you were able to speak a lot about what is going on with the water that people don't know. Mm-hmm. And the thing that bothers me the most is the stuff that we don't know about. Like, when the whole thing first started a few years ago, it was basically talking about TTHMs. Okay, then the TTHMs pretty much disappeared and it all turned into lead. So let's go back to the TTHMs because a lot of people don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is, but I know it can't be a good thing. It cannot be, because I don't think stuff with initials and names this long should be in our water. Mm-hmm. So tell me exactly what a TTHM is.
Well, it's a trihalomethane. It may start with a stick in the water. Anything that's living has carbon in it, mm-hmm. and as it decomposes, it forms these organic compounds in the water, which aren't really bothersome, very easy to remove. But when they get into the water treatment plant, they use chlorine in the United States to sanitize the water and kill the bacteria. And it forms, the chlorine combines with the organic carbon, mm-hmm. and forms organic chlorinated organics. And these things are generally toxic. You could think of it like a natural gas molecule is a methane.
Yeah.
And so it's a carbon with 4 hydrogens around it. Well, a trihalomethane would be a carbon with 3 chlorides on it. And they're hideously toxic. They will make your skin itch. They cause cancer. The interesting thing about a trihalomethane is that it's also a VOC. So if you were in an auto body shop and he's painting, yeah, those solvents that get in the air, those are VOCs.
Okay, so tell everybody what a VOC is. I heard you say it on Arts, yeah, but it's... Oh, the V stands for volatile.
Volatile organic compound.
Right.
Okay, we covered the organic.
Right.
We covered the volatile.
Okay.
So now this compound. Let's talk about that.
The compound. Okay.
The way I like to describe it is your house is a box. It's a closed-in box, mm-hmm. and you turn your shower on.
Yeah.
And the VOCs come off when the water's warm.
Right.
So it's just like a bottle of pop.
Mm-hmm.
When it's cold, you can open it up, and the carbon dioxide a little bit.
You get the fizz.
But if you open that bottle when it's warm,
you get a lot more. Or if you shake it up. Yeah. A lot of fizz.
These are some of the things that agitate those VOCs to mm-hmm. become more volatile. So now you're taking your shower in a tiny enclosed box,
right,
and you're breathing
mm-hmm.
those. And it's a precursor to lung cancer. It's a known carcinogen for lung cancer, and it causes rashes, and it stays in the home because now you open up the shower door and you dry off. Your wife is downstairs doing the laundry in warm water.
Mm-hmm.
The daughter's upstairs doing the dishes in warm water. you're cooking your spaghetti in warm water. So these are all sources of these VOCs, and you're in this closed box. So all day long, you're exposed to breathing these things. They're not decomposing.
Wow.
You are becoming exposed to these compounds. So when the EPA comes up with levels of that they say, for instance, ours is a number called 80. So they say if it's below 80, you're okay. Well, not so, because you're in your house, this closed box, and you're exposed to this all day long, and you're continually creating more of it. So they should be eliminated from the water. And it gets us into this discussion about the EPA and their levels of limits that we all know are way too high.
So how do they put those limits? Just like they said, we now acceptable lead, and I'm thinking there should be no lead at all. And they're saying, well, okay, the water crisis is over because now your lead level is at 7, and it, you know, if it's 15 or less, you're good. How can that be? But you know, lead is not supposed to be in the water anyways, is it?
No, lead is cumulative. It causes nerve damage. In vitro, the baby's nervous development, lower weight. Genesee County has a lower death rate for the stillborn babies. And it affects, and it's an endocrine interrupter, as it turns out. So it's really a hideously toxic thing. So you don't want to have any of it. So the reason why, EPA's levels are the way they are is I like to call it potable water. Potable water. Potable means it won't kill you today. That's the best definition of potable.
Like P-O-T-A-B-L-E?
Yeah, potable.
Potable.
A-B-L-E.
A-B-L-E. That means it won't kill you today.
It won't kill you today, but given those conditions, I like to look at it as a ball. When you wake up in the morning, you have this ball of libido. Libido is life energy, and you've got this quantum amount of life energy every day. So on the way to school, or on the way to the babysitter, or on the way out to dinner, somebody pulls in front of you and you got to step on your brake, and you get upset. Right. It's a little bit of libido that just came off. So all day long, all of this life energy for working, and you get tired at night, expels itself. Now, part of the libido is the ability to fight off and ward off contaminants, diseases, microbes, the things that were old age. The things,
Oh, it stops that? I need some libido, please. Let's cut it right now.
Or immunocompromised individuals. It all takes its toll. So then you're more susceptible to having a problem when you engage with some sort of a toxin. So potable. It won't kill you today. No.
But it'll continue, does it build up in your system and it'll kill you later?
Yeah, lead is cumulative.
Okay.
Now here's the problem with it. It goes to your bones. So if you have an ingestion of lead, your child, let's say, your child has a one-time exposure, just as an example.
One time.
Just as an example, maybe it's a particle spitting out of your little filter on your kitchen faucet.
Right.
Just one little particle. 0.5 micromillimeters. A very, very small particle. Less than the diameter of a hair.
Oh, that's real little.
Yeah. So he has a one-time exposure. Now, within 3 days, that lead starts to move to the bone. So we know it goes to the blood. The blood goes all over the body, and this lead does its damage on the way, and then it goes into the bone. So let's say that your son goes to the doctors and you decide to have a blood lead level run. Well, inevitably it's not within 3 days. It's 2 weeks or a month later. Right. And he gets a reading of 3, let's say. And that would be 3 micrograms per deciliter. And so he doesn't even tell you it's 3, because in the medical profession the limit is 10. It's called an action limit. 10 micrograms per deciliter. Deciliter is a tenth of a liter. A liter is about a quart. So
see, I don't like chemistry. I got a D in that class.
Well, they're very small numbers. Yeah. So anyways, he only has to report it if it reaches 10. Mm-hmm. So then he'll tell you your son is EBL. Well, it's way too late. So unless you really pressure him, you don't get the answer. So you really want to really pressure him. And does my son have 1, 3, 7, 11? What is it? You know, you want to know that number. Mm-hmm. Test is like $60 if you had to pay for it yourself.
Right.
So after 3 days, some of that goes to that doesn't mean that it's not in your body. It's just that it's not in your blood anymore because your bone absorbed that lead, and it's now staying in your bones.
So if you took a blood test now, the number will be less because it's in your bones.
Right. There's two morals to this story. If you have any amount of lead in your blood when he checks it, that means that you are being exposed to it on a daily basis, or at least in the last 3 days, and most likely you have a continual uptake of lead. So if you have 3 micrograms in your per liter in your water, and you know you're drinking 2 liters a day, you would be EBL in like 3 months.
What's EBL?
You would be an elevated blood lead level.
Oh, okay.
So you would be over the action limit.
Oh, okay. So over that 10 number.
Over the 10 in total, keeping in mind that most of it went to the bones.
Into the bone, yeah.
And the interesting thing there is it goes to your bone marrow, and there it's an endocrine interrupter, and it interferes with the proper formation of the cells that the red blood cells that the bone marrow is supposed to create for your body. So it's really hideous. It's just all over doing all kinds of things. So you really want to take charge of what you put in your own body. That's the answer, because the EPA does not make water for drinking. They make it to be potable, which means most of that water is used to wash your car, do your laundry.
Right.
And I'll bring that subject up a little later, but to make car parts, water your
like
flowers.
with GM, they pull theirs out the water because of all the stuff.
They got rusty parts. So only less than 1% of the water that they produce is actually made for drinking. Most of it's used as working water, as opposed to life support water. So if they were to make all the water for life support, it would be horrendously expensive. It probably is as expensive as our bills are here in Flint.
For real. And they keep saying, you gotta pay it because we got bills to pay.
Yeah, exactly. It costs them some. So you really have to be diligent, get it analyzed, get some equipment in there, whatever you have to have. You have to have a professional take a look at it. And it all starts with the analysis. You really have, and you can't do the analysis at your kitchen sink. It takes atomic absorption units, ICBs, gas chromatographs, the sophisticated equipment that if you bumped your elbow into it, you'd spend the next 4 hours calibrating it. So there's no way of bringing it to your home. So you want to
leave it alone.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just amazing because all this stuff is going on. And now when you say when the lead goes into your bone and then it goes into your marrow, so that's when people start getting cancer, like multiple myeloma, which has to do with the blood cells, or maybe lupus.
Well, this is kind of what lupus is all about. It's the endocrine interrupter that gets into your bone marrow and interrupts the proper formation of these red blood cells. And they don't know a lot about lupus. You know, I mean, I know a lot of people that have it. There's a proliferation of it here in Flint.
My niece has it, and she lives in Delaware, and she just was diagnosed a couple years ago. And it's always like, what is it? What does it do? How does it make you feel? And, medications and, with the stuff that's going on here, we passed medication. We passed all that. But then they start talking about, like, the Legionnaires. So I saw a video that Art had done the other day, and he was saying, well, since it's been so hot for the last few days, that everybody should get their water tested. Like your water heaters and everything. They had said that before, drain your water heaters, and people had water heaters that exploded from all the chemicals when this first thing started. And I don't know what all that means. Excuse me, everybody. I call myself turning it down so that it wouldn't ring. But how does that affect, you know, the water when people are saying, you know, you got this in your water heater and they want to change your water heater out, they want to do this and that, but once you change your water heater out, you still got the same water coming back in to fill it up again.
Well, when they talk about raising the temperature in your hot water heater, what they're really talking about, and I was astounded to learn that many of the people in Flint keep it kind of warm, like 115 or so. That water heater should be elevated. You should be turning up that hot water heater to kill those bacteria, because bacteria live in us at 98.6 Fahrenheit. So 114 or so is pretty close, and that Legionella bacteria that it gets in your lungs and causes pneumonia, and like that. And you know, and the funny thing about, well, anyways, I'll stick on the subject here. So you want to be able to kill those in your hot water heater, so you have to turn the temperature up. That's the first thing you got to do. Now, as far as the sludge in the bottom of your hot water heater, those hot water heaters have been in there maybe for 10 years, and they've had accumulation of just all kinds of sludge. Right. And you know, when the water comes in and fills the hot water heater, some of that sludge is stirred up, and it goes out. So replacing the hot water heater is an answer. The manufacturer's instructions say to purge the tank once a year. Yeah. So what you do is hook up a garden hose on the drain, open up a cold water line.
Yeah, I had mine done. Yeah. A friend of mine has a plumbing business. They came and did mine, and the water was just slimy. Oh, terrible. And this was when this whole thing first happened, and the water was slimy, and he was like, oh my God, look at this water. And it was just like had a haze over it. So he did it all the way down, and then we ran it until all the water turned almost cold to get all that, you know, we did all that. I didn't replace the heater itself, but, you know, we did that much, and I'm just, you know, saying, like, if I replace it and the water's still bad, I mean, what's the sense of replacing it? I don't know if I should or I shouldn't, well, you know.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, Bruce Steers came up with dissections of copper pipes, and we had a meeting with Mr. Baird. He would be the governor's right-hand person, and we discussed this about the pipes and the sludge in the pipes and cleaning them out. And like same with hot water heaters, he was very pro changing out the hot water heater. But you're right, you get into, if you put in the same kind of hot water heater, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep having the same problems. So they should be looking at instant on hot water heaters, so there's no storage tank. They run probably $1,500.
Those that fit on the wall, like the hot as you need it. Right. I almost got one of those long time ago, but they were so expensive, and I still want one because I'm tired of, you know, the worry about the flame under there. Like if I want to open up the windows in my laundry room and the flame go out, I don't know how to light it up. I'm scared I'm gonna blow somebody up. Me. So I was thinking about getting one of those because they look really cool on the wall, you know. But they're so expensive now. But you know, with all the money that's coming here, they should be giving us that kind, you know, instead of the basic kind.
Nothing has been done to the benefit of the best benefit of the people throughout this entire KWA project, which led into all this mess. Nothing's been done in the best interest of the people. Right. That includes hot water heaters. Exactly. If you do the same thing again, that's just being stupid.
That's why I'm saying I never changed mine out, because I felt like it was a waste of money.
All these things, you know, I like to say, you know, when I get done with a project, I like to say, you know, I walk away and I think I've raised these people's quality of life 10 or 15 years.
They haven't done ours. People are still dying, still getting sick, itching. Blue water. People had blue water in their tubs.
Well, again, it goes back to this EPA thing. They're not responsible for what goes in your home. Under the law. The government, under EPA, they're the regulatory agency, and they put out this report that says these are the levels. Well, let me go over it. You get your water report from the city. or the county,
right,
in this county. And on the front page, it'll have the drain commissioner's how great he is. The second page will be how to read the report, the acronyms.
Right.
The third page, there'll be 15 items on it. That's all, 15. Now, the handbook in chemistry and physics is a 4-inch thick book,
right,
and it's just full of chemicals.
So
they only check 15, but the EPA says that's all you got to do. So then the last page, of course, is how to get a hold of the people
that you never can get a hold of.
Yeah. So it goes back to what you originally said. All these other things are going on, and with lead and trihalomethanes, those limits are too high, and they're only responsible for meeting them at the plant and through the distribution system up to your meter, up to your water meter. Beyond that, as a homeowner, that's your responsibility. They only make the water to be potable, which means it won't kill you today. So it's your responsibility. If you want to increase your quality of life expectancy, it's up to you.
Now, how are we supposed to know what to do, though?
You have to, like this.
We got to read chemicals that we, I don't understand this anyways. People's head will explode trying to read stuff like that. And the EPA, and then Trump says he wants to, get rid of that department. So if he does that, then we're going to be drinking mud water.
Well, it isn't just the EPA. What he's looking at is inefficiency. Our government has gotten so big that the EPA just is totally inefficient. I give you an example. I've got a licensed bottling plant in the inner city. I shut it down a few years ago. I'd like to get it reopened again and get jobs for people.
Yeah.
But so I was getting it relicensed last year, and the fella came in with a magnet. Oh, matter of fact, he said he forgot his magnet.
And he's really testing for lead with the magnet.
Yeah, Matt Taylor was there actually doing this with the guys. And he came upstairs and he says, well, I can't tell if it's lead because I didn't bring my magnet. So that's the inefficiency of the EPA. You can't, lead is, the only thing a magnet will tell you is if it's steel.
Right.
It won't work on copper, and it won't work on lead, and it won't work on stainless steel. So I've got stainless steel and copper, and lead.
What did he bring that for?
It wouldn't have done anything. So this is the kind of thinking that's been going on.
Oh,
it's just nutsnoid.
It really is, because everybody is freaking out about it. And I just, like when I was listening to you talk.
I'll continue with the story.
Yeah.
They go away and they couldn't certify it, so they said, well, you have to prove that it's a copper pipe or something. So I go down there and I scrape it with emery paper and it comes up red, so I take a photograph of it and send it to him. He says, no, not enough. Well, lead's not red, but the patina that copper can get can look like a lead pipe. So I sanded it off, and no, not good enough. So okay, I got a special tool, and I removed enough of the pipe, weighed it to the 4th decimal on a metler, dissolved it, titrated it, sent them all the results. And the titration came out exactly to the metler weight. And he said, well, we can't take chemical analysis. This is the EPA now, in Lansing. You can't take chemical analysis. I don't understand that. And we battered that around a little bit. Well, come to find out they don't have a protocol for chemical analysis to determine if it's a copper pipe, a stainless steel pipe, a lead pipe, or a cast iron pipe, or if the thing has got zinc coating on it.
Oh my God.
They do not, So this is what we're up against. It's unbelievable.
It really is.
So when you get the EPA at that level of incompetence, and they're so big, and they get away with it, get rid of them.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't going to be another, some kind of department. It might be under Ben Carson, which would be a godsend.
He doesn't talk much, so
no, but he's really smart.
He's a doctor, so he want to cut your heart out and tell you got lead poisoning.
This is perfect. This is perfect because what does the EPA do? It's all about health.
I don't know.
It's all about health.
Well,
and health and environment.
So they can merge the two with Ben.
Absolutely.
And you think that would work?
Oh, I think that'd be a great thing.
So should we bring Ben to Flint and have him walk around with you? And you can just tell him, look, Ben, nah, bro. This is what needs to happen in Flint.
Yeah.
Because when is somebody going to do that so that, shouldn't they already know what needs to be done, but they're just not doing it? And then we still, you know, people are coming up with cancers like they never had before, or, you know, it's just, I just don't know. I've never lived through anything like this. This is sort of like hurricane to me, something I've never been through before, and I don't see an answer to it. And you move out the city, and people's like, oh no, don't move, they're gonna pay us money and all this and that. I'm like, well, we'll be dead, we won't need the money. I mean, the mindset is totally different than mine. I'm ready to go. They're like, no, they're gonna do us right. They haven't done us right yet.
Right.
I don't think they're gonna do us right.
Well, they're only responsible to your meter.
So
they're gonna get the lead down to your meter to slightly below the EPA standard, and they're fine.
They're done.
They're fine with that.
But they're making people sign waivers to say if we damage something while we doing this, we're not responsible. I don't think that's right. I mean, we shouldn't have to pay for anything.
If it's on their side of the meter, they're responsible.
Well, they should be responsible for everything. We didn't do any of this.
I know.
I want your responsibility to be all the way into my house and out the other side. I mean, what the hell?
One thing I'm not is an attorney. Okay?
Well, I'm not either, but I probably should have been.
I can answer the chemistry and the microbiology, but when it gets into the legal thing, but all I know is that once it gets to that meter, baby, they say, hey, it's meeting the standards.
Oh my God. So I hear from people that the pipes, like once they shake them all up, you know, they're digging and they're shaking the pipes and all this stuff, it just keeps the water bad, but yet they're still saying the water's good, and the filters, and like you had mentioned that nothing soluble can be filtered.
Right.
And I was just telling the neighbor that the other day, and I said, well, you gotta remember, I said, you know, they're talking about having everybody with filters and stuff. I ran them away from my house. They kept coming by there bringing filters. I was like, look, don't bring me another damn filter. And they were like, why? I said, because they don't work. I said, you can't filter stuff that's soluble. And they were looking at me like, blink, blink, like, what does that mean? So what's the purpose of the filters? I don't think they've ever worked.
Okay, I'm gonna show you a dissection of a faucet filter.
Oh, you cut it in half.
It's made by the Pure PUR.
Yeah, those are the ones that they were giving out.
They're giving out. And it says here metals, lead, mercury, corrosion of household furniture things, pipes, chlorine, taste and odor. See the performance sheet. Okay, all it says is that metals, lead and mercury. It doesn't give you any math. I like the math.
Yeah, I know you do. And it doesn't say anything about TTHMs and stuff like that. It just says metal and...
Now, I mentioned that the particle, one particle, the size of a cross-section of a hair on your head.
Yeah. Yeah. My head. That's a good example.
Yeah. So this is a pure filter cartridge.
Oh man.
And this is the inside of it. Now, do you think that
could you turn the camera towards the camera a little bit?
Oh yeah. That's the inside of it. So it's a piece of compressed carbon, and see it comes out of my finger.
So is that supposed to filter stuff?
That's actually what they're advising people to put.
Well, that's what they did. I threw mine away.
Yeah, I just took one and cut it in half. Yeah.
I was thinking about doing that because I wanted to see what was in it too, but
well, there it is, and it's compressed carbon. And now, do you think a particle that's smaller than the diameter of a hair would pass through that?
I think so.
I don't know. This is hard as a rock.
Well,
so what's supposed to filter? Where is it supposed to come through that hole right there? Or is it supposed to stick to this?
Well, that's the question. There were some little glass beads in there, but when you have water going through there at pressure, and you can do that, these little particles, if they're small enough, they can flow on through there. Now, as compared to this is another cross section where I cut a filter in half.
Yeah.
And this one has been fried. It's baked. It's sintered. It's almost melted and compressed.
Now,
And-
which one is the best one if you were going to use one, or should neither one of them be?
Well, if you try to scratch that, you don't get anything.
Oh. So now, I thought as a filter it's supposed to be kind of porous. So if something is going to filter through, it's going to like flow in and stick to it. Because when they first started giving out filters, people were showing pictures of stuff that they had gotten out of their faucet. But it was like little granular chips of something, little black specks and stuff like that. Now, I can see that being filtered.
This will slough off little particles of carbon.
So that means that it'll just actually come on through the faucet.
Yeah, and you would.
And that's not a good thing?
Well, not if it's got lead in the little particles.
Yeah.
When this is wet, it's quite a bit softer because it's expanded.
Yeah, okay.
Now, on this cartridge, NSF, and you go down here and you go down to lead, and they list pH 8.5. You've got basically 99% rejection. Now we're getting into the math.
Yeah.
at pH is 6.5. Now that's an acid. If the pH is acidic on this, it becomes useless as a filter.
So now what would the acid be?
Well, when you add chlorine to the water,
okay.
it gets acidic. But as low as 6.5, you still have the same rejection rate. 99% rejection. And it's got NSF approval. Now this, which would you rather have? So
If they're talking about lead in the water, you want the water boss because it's going to take out the lead.
Yeah.
But I thought lead was soluble. Can you see it?
Lead compounds are soluble.
Okay.
And you cannot filter a lead compound that's soluble.
Okay.
Even this filter won't filter it.
Right.
It's dissolved. Now, what does dissolved mean? If you take a glass of cold water and put some salt in it and stir it up,
It dissolves.
it disappears.
Right. And
Where
then you
did
run
it
that
go?
through the filter.
Where did the salt go?
In the water.
Between the water molecules.
Okay.
That's why you can't see it. So you got water molecules bouncing all around, and in between there's the sodium
There's
and
the
the
salt,
chloride. So you can see right through it.
Right.
Now, if you took a lead particle, like you said, those little particles that you see in the water, you can see it. But if you form a compound out of that, like let's say lead nitrate or an organic, a tetraethyl lead,
something that's going to dissolve.
Yeah, then it will fit between the water molecules, and you won't be able to see it, and you can't filter it. You cannot filter something that's dissolved.
Right. I'm going to remember that salt thing once I put some in my Bud Light. I'm going to be like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Wait, let me taste it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, because that's people wonder about, once they're shaking up the pipes and everything, that some people say, oh no, Flint River is not contaminated, the water is constantly moving. And I don't care if it's constantly moving, because when I go down there and I see all that water coming out that damn thing, it's all dirty and foamy and all that. And then I've lived here since '81, and to know of all the things that's gone into the river, cars, people committing suicide, and dead fish, and all this stuff. Why would you choose the Flint River of all places? And you got to filter it. Now they say river water is easier or lake water is easier. Which one? But why the Flint River?
That's all hokey pokey. Everything you said is hokey pokey.
Okay, tell me about that myth. Tell me about that myth.
Okay. The thing that hasn't been done with the KWA and the Flint River water, we did it en masse there. But what you do, and this goes back to the day one when this thing was first conceived back in like 2008. These tests should have been done, and they're called pro forma tests. And what you do is you set up your system on a bench top, being a chemist, microbiologist, and you pass that water through this, and as close as you can duplicate what's going to happen, what the engineers are saying we should do. Pump this uphill 50 miles in a pipe closed. For instance, lake water is aerobic. It doesn't smell. It's friendly. When you put it in a closed environment in a pipe, within 20 seconds, those aerobes consume all the oxygen. So they respirate on oxygen. The oxygen is starved now. It gets down to 0. So they all die. The aerobes, the friendly bacteria are gone.
So that means now you can smell it.
They're dead. No, not yet. So there's a certain percentage of anaerobes that respirate without oxygen. They use such things as iron, sulfur, that kind of stuff that makes it septic or stinky. So you'll get these anaerobes growing, and they're under a microscope, ugly looking guys, and they cannibalize on those aerobes. And as that pipe progresses 50 miles away, you now have a condition called septic water. Now I'd like somebody out there to actually show me that test that was done, should have been done in 2008, because I certainly couldn't find it. But the engineering company should be able to produce that test.
If it was
guess
done.
what? It wasn't done. So of course you're going to have problems. So item 2 on that same issue. Flint water treatment plant didn't work, did it? So it's called an open filtration system. They bring the water in, they add ferric chloride and a bunch of chemicals, and they put it in open tanks.
Those giant tanks look like they stir.
Have you been there?
Well, I haven't. I've seen it on TV, and I've watched them.
It's not a sterile operation.
Yeah.
And then you might add flocking agents, and the water goes over a weir, and it's a free flowing system. They chlorinate it and off to our houses. So the plant out in Lapeer that they're building is a similar. It's a kind of a different plant, but it's the same protocol. So why would you duplicate something that's already failed?
So the plant out there that they're spending this money to work on, wait a minute. The plant.
And I tell you, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, the plant. Now my thought was, they said they were building a new water plant that can filter the Flint water or this KWA water or whatever to make it better. So you're saying that the plant out there is pretty much going to be like the plant right here. Pretty
much. It'll be new.
It'll be newer, but it'll still do like the same things here. It won't do anything different.
Add chemicals, stir it up, go through your settling, chlorinate, and off the Flint it goes.
It's the same water doing the same thing.
You can suspect something.
So it's going to be the same thing, but in a new plant.
Well, you started this conversation about the Flint River water.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can treat Flint River water. In fact, we've got a machine in design. I hope to pick it up for FEMA. You can stick this pipe in camel piss, and it'll make drinking water out of it.
I'd have thought of it. But anyways, that's about what's in the Flint River anyways.
You know, there's at least 6 cities around the nation. It's from flush to the tank to the drinking water. They blend the sewage water. That's why they call me Wastewater Bob.
Come on, Bob. You're making me.
That's right. They blend it with the drinking water.
And that just cleans it all up.
LA, friend. If you ever have a glass of water in LA, you're drinking your neighbor's flush toilet from a couple days ago.
Well, that's what.
And it's perfectly fine. What I mean is,
once it's
given
filtered
the right
out,
protocol, you can treat anything.
Yeah, but we're not doing the right protocol. Now, who is the person who came up with this protocol to do this? Because that's a lot of money that they're spending on this new plant, and I guess it all has something to do with the KWA.
Okay, now comes my bias.
Okay.
I ran for drain commissioner 4 times.
Against Jeff Wright?
Yeah, over a 30-year period of time.
And he's been in there 30 years?
Well, yeah, he was there 20 years under Tony Ragnone, and then he left for a while, and when Tony died, we had an interim guy for a couple of years, and then Jeff's been there for another 20 years. So he's been there over 40 years.
Yeah. And so how did he get in this big old mess?
He's a voted person. You voted for him.
I didn't vote for him. I don't vote for any of them.
Somebody voted for him.
Somebody did, because I was registered for one time, and then when my card expired, I expired with it, because I see all the corruption, and I don't want to have anything to do with any of them.
You got to vote, and you got to study the ballot and study these people, you know. to get in. That's a technical position.
Yeah.
He's not a technical person. He's a great politician.
It's like
In
money.
fact, Tony Ragno and I says, how long are you going to stay here, Tony? And,
Until he dies.
I said, you're technical incompetent. That's what I called him. And no, he and I would talk. You know, I was sitting there, you know, we'd talk. And he says, yeah, he says, but I can raise a lot of money for the Democratic Party. That was his answer.
Yeah. See, it's so much about money. That's what makes me mad.
It's so much about the Democratic Party in this community.
Ugh.
You know, you do need a blend of competition. But in this case, it's a technical position, and possibly next time around there should be some technical qualifications.
I was going to interject here. Your background is in chemistry, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that seems like a no-brainer to me. Of course, that's the reason why politicians don't like it, don't think it, because they go for the political side. You have the expertise, and yet they let somebody else who has no expertise or very little
Sort of like
in
the
that position.
president.
Yeah. Well, that goes with any of them. No, that goes with any of the presidents.
Yeah.
Basically, their popularity contest. Also, that's all the presidential thing is.
Name recognition and party politics.
So if you had gone in on the wastewater Bob, they probably got you in. If you went on the Bob Stewart, they're like, who's Bob Stewart? You got to change that name now. You got to go in and say, I'm wastewater Bob and I'm here to stay. But this whole thing to me is all of it seemed like it's about money, because when they switched over, the whole thing was like, well, we can save $4 million if we do this pipeline and go through the Flint River. We're going to save the city $4 million. But in my estimation, we spent way over $4 million. It cost lives and everything else, and they're still worried about whatever. Nothing is... How many more people got to die? They trying to just like kill us off one by one and do what?
Well, yesterday in the Genesee County Courthouse, a professor, a doctor came and gave testimony on the Legionella problem.
What's his name? DeVos.
Yes,
DeVos. Yeah,
Dr.
DeVos.
And his testimony indicated that there's probably a whole lot more people that have died from Legionella. Because one thing it does is when you get it, let's say you're a really healthy person,
right?
You get it. You can die from pneumonia, but let's say you live through the pneumonia part of it. 6 months later, you could die of heart failure, because it also gets into the heart and causes it to stress out, so you die of a heart attack. Well, when you do your autopsy, if you had an autopsy, your death certificate will say
heart attack,
cardiac arrest. And in fact, it actually, but it doesn't go on the statistical sheet as being a result of the Legionella. So who's to say? And instead of being 20 or 30, it might be 200. We don't know. Right,
because right now I think the number was like 15 or 17, and the one guy, Nick Lyon, I guess, when the lady told him that report, they needed a report or whatever, and he said something like, well, they got to die or something anyways. And I thought, why would you say stuff like that? I mean, okay, if you live in Lansing and they're just now like 10 years of getting their water together, 10, 12 years, Bay City, 10 years getting their water together. And then I saw that they were trying to do something with the Ann Arbor water, you know, they were fixing pipes and everything there. And I just say, well, the governor lives in Ann Arbor, so, you know, I guess they're gonna get those pipes up in a hurry. But then they said, somebody came here from Lansing and said, well, with 55 million, we can get it done in 2 years. So even if 55 million is not done yet, they don't even have like 4,000 pipes done. And they're saying we're going to do 6,000 this year, 6,000 next year, next 6,000. You know, if it's only 18,000 pipes, where's the rest of the pipes? Because there's more than 18,000 people that live here.
Yeah, I guess there's about 18,000 hookups, billable homes that they're dealing with, and not all of them have lead pipes. But even with the replacement of the pipes, we're still not confident that the problem is resolved, because you've got the same sludge, if not more sludge, in the pipes that are in the home.
Yeah, and that's what my biggest thing is, like, nobody's going to ever believe or say, well, some people say, you know, it's good and this and that, but I'll never trust them, because they're not going to tell me that what I'll hear is, well, you know, Flint's always had bad water and blah, blah, blah. I said, but if we had bad water, nobody knew about it like this. I said, but now we know for sure, and we know that people are dying from it. So you're not going to convince me that when they do all these pipelines and everything, that the water's going to be good again. So how are you supposed to just fix a pipeline and that gets rid of the Legionella, the TTHMs, the VOCs?
It's not going to get rid of Legionella. The bacteria on a little filter like this, that can reproduce itself all the way through that filter and spit that Legionella. So this filter won't do anything for your bacteria.
And that's that pure.
Really any of them. Even this one, your bacteria film can continue to grow through the filter. These little bugs are really prolific. So, does that mean you have to sterilize the water in your home? Some of the pipes may be, but it needs to be taken a look at.
So now, as far as the showering and stuff like that, it's like we're at the point of like 5-minute shower, you in and off, like my grandmother say, you range off and you jump out. When I'm used to like a nice hot shower, just being there washing my hair and all this kind of stuff. Gotta get that flip going. But now you can't even enjoy that, and people want to sit down in the tub. It's like you don't want to do that. And then, filter for the bathroom or filter for the kitchen. To me, it's a waste of time because I had that filter and it's like you can't run hot water through it. So you got to flip it over here for this. Then you got to take it off and you got to run it hot water. Then you got to it's just a big old mess. And they walk door to door, you need a new filter? And I'm like, no, don't come up here again. What I need another filter for if I'm not using the first one and they don't work? A lot of people say they don't work, so why are they still giving them out? Because I guess the governor or whatever paid for them. They're saying, oh, the water's fine as long as you use a filter. Do those two things in one sense go together? No. We didn't have to use a filter before. The water was fine, but now the water will be fine only if you use a filter.
Yeah.
Now what sense does that make? Why are you telling people that when we know that's not the truth?
Well, there are answers to fixing the problem inside the homes, and it's a whole lot cheaper than replacing all the pipes. In fact, it's the fastest way of fixing the problem, and it's the cheapest way of fixing the problem.
Okay, so what is that? Can I do it?
It's called the $10 plan.
The $10 plan. So I'm going to put something on layaway for $10.
The $10 doesn't have really a whole lot to do with it.
Okay, what is it?
Well, it uses a segmented tank, if you would, that has 4 or 5 different compartments in it, so that as the water influent chemistry changes, you can change the media in the machine and target that particular contaminant, if it's aluminum or...
So how do you know what you have to keep testing your water to know if you have that in it? Because my water is tested 4 times and it came up no lead but copper. The people across the street, they might have both.
Right.
So what could I put in my house to say I'm not going to get the TTHMs and all that? Because I worry about that as much as lead, Well,
the TTHMs go to 0. The lead will go down to less than 0.1. If that, it becomes non-detectable at such a small number. If you have a bacterial problem, you can put a system in for that. So,
but people don't. A lot of them may not know they have bacterial because nobody's testing for that. They're basically testing for lead, copper, and that's basically it. Now they have those little water sticks because I bought one of them little sticks.
I owned a state certified lab for years right here in Flint, north of the river.
Oh, okay.
And we tested thousands of homes around the county, around the state actually, for bacteria. So this can be done locally.
But how do people find out about that?
You can go to www.waterpharmacy.com.
Okay, that's that site you gave me.
Yes.
Yeah, waterpharmacy.com. So if they go to that site, they can get in contact with somebody. Then they actually come to the person's house to do the testing. Well,
you can't test. There's a difference between test, like a water softener guy coming in to sell you.
Yeah, and they drop the water.
That's testing. Okay. Analysis uses this sophisticated equipment.
So you'd have to take some of our water with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to use the protocol bottles, and meet the hold times, and there's a little bit to just even pulling a specimen.
Yeah, because
get it done right.
The ones they give you at the bottles they used to give you at the site is like do it first thing in the morning, tip it to the side or whatever, let the water run in, don't run it ahead of time, all this kind of stuff, and you take it up there and drop it off. And then with the corruption, people don't know if they're really how true are the test. I mean, and then if they want to get like a private person like you or something to come in, it's like then they got to worry about the cost of it.
And I know some people that sent tests in and never got a result.
Exactly.
What happened here, where the studio is, I had 3 tests done before I finally got the 4th one. I got the results back from the 4th test, but the other 3 I had never heard anything from.
Yeah, I've heard that from a number of people around the community.
See,
that's just not right. Under, that's EPA protocols. Where you just went through it's called the first draw, and but for them to hold test results, maybe they're skewing the statistical data by I don't know what goes on.
Well, that's what they were saying. One of the complaints was that they figured that the numbers that they were spitting out were being skewed in their favor.
Yeah.
So when they started pulling these people in and arresting them and telling them, you're going to jail, then all this stuff came out. It's like, oh yeah, they told me to hold that report back because the number was so high, and then we get another. Oh no, you got to hold that one back too. And it's like, how do you get to do that?
That's criminal.
Yeah, it is, and that's why they're up. But then why isn't the governor in this mix of people that's up in the courthouse? We paid for his attorneys like $3-4 million for his attorneys. Why are we paying that? That could have been my money to move out of Flint. I gotta get out of Flint fund, and I want some money in my fund. I don't know what he's talking about. Everybody is like, nobody knows what to do. It's like, I'm a homeowner, so they're like, okay, if you don't sell your house, you stuck with your house and blah, blah, you walk away from your house. People that rent, sometimes they can't afford to move and this and that. I don't care what it takes. My fund is going to grow and I'm getting out of Flint. I am a homeowner. I don't care about all that other stuff. I think everybody, if they want to leave, they should be able to just go on and leave, and they should help us leave. They should be cutting us checks left and right. Instead of making us pay those high water bills. $109.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, this goes back to that KWA. The promises that were made, and when Jeff talked, he threw his arms around and started talking millions.
Yeah.
But if you get right down to the nitty gritty, right now I think Detroit's selling us water for $11 a 1,000 cubic feet. There's 7,500 gallons in a cubic foot. That's 2 months of use for the average home in Flint. So that's $5.50, the actual cost of that water that Flint is writing the check to Detroit for. Now there's no way, it's absolutely impossible to pay the mortgage on the KWA, build a water treatment plant, pump it uphill 50 miles, huge pumps.
Right.
Pump it back into Flint for $5 or $8. We were paying $8 before. Absolutely impossible. So if you start from that vantage point, and I kept hollering about this for the last 30 years about water. I ran for mayor in Flint in 1995.
I was here in 95, and I think I saw your face, come to think of it. Of course, I didn't know who you were then.
That's when I was wearing a cowboy hat.
Oh, it could have been. It could have been. Because I moved here in 81 from Jackson, Michigan. And, I've gone through some mayors. The young boy, Collier, and Stanley, and whoever else. I've gone. I've done a lot of them. And what makes me mad, too, like with Walling, everybody started reaming him, and when this whole thing came and they flipped the switch and they're supposedly drinking the water, I said, that picture, how come it's not see-through picture? We know that's bottled water they poured in there and fooling us and saying, oh yeah, look, it's good. But when the girl took the water out the faucet and gave it to him in the cup, he took a little sip and his face sort of cringed, and he was like, oh yeah, well, it tastes, it got a little tinny taste. Yeah, he said it's got a little tinny taste, and most water has that. I said, he's such a liar, he gonna run out of there and wash his mouth out. He's gonna be like the little kids, like, You know, why people lie like that and that? And we got him good on Facebook all the time. I told him, I said, Dan, you know that, you know, you're not gonna have your kids drinking the water. You know your house is probably filtered up, right? No, Lisa, my kids, you know, we drink the water. I said, dang, quit playing. Yeah. Quit lying. You know, you lying to me, you lying to everybody, and everybody know it. Then when he lost, he's sitting over in the corner looking all sad faced. But now we in just a bigger mess as before. So I mean, can't win.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to get out of here.
Well,
I'm building up my nest.
I think there's 8 people a day that have been leaving.
Yeah, I mean, when they would talk about 100,000 people here, it's like it's not 100,000. You know, we'd probably be good if we see 80. I don't think, you know, because you see all the empty lots, the properties, the houses torn down, the houses burned up, boarded up. There's not that many people here anymore. And they've been leaving ever since GM left. And I should have been gone then, but I was still working. Now I'm retired. I just want to go live in Alaska so I can sit out there and fish all day. Salmon. And watch the pretty blue water.
Yeah. I don't know. It almost reminds me of the Korean situation. You know, that you can just see the dictator of North Korea, and he's got his entourage of people that are telling him what he wants to hear, so they don't get the death sentence.
Right. Yes,
you know?
men.
And it just seems like the leaders have all been maybe told something, not told something, and just couldn't respond. I have no idea, but we met with Dane Walling. I had my controller and Matt Taylor. Yeah. And we met with him for a couple hours. And had he acted on the results of that meeting, he might have still been mayor. Right. And you know, I told Karen Weaver that a couple weeks ago, and she was wanting to meet with me, but still no invitation to go in and talk.
You ain't gonna get in the door. Yeah. You gonna go in there and start talking mathematics and chemistry, and she's gonna be like, well, what time?
you're listening. Art Woodson is listening.
Yeah.
You know, you have to listen.
Yeah.
You know, you're cringing when I tell you about I ran against the Democrat. You know, a little bit of a cringe.
Well, you know,
bias. But you know, you gotta listen to all of the parties involved.
Well, I've always said too, for the Democrats have ran this county for 60-some years, pretty much unchallenged.
According to Michael Moore, it's 86.
Yeah, 86.
I like Michael Moore.
But see, the thing is, and then okay, but you're going to get the same results by the same political apparatus in place. You're not. Let's face it, they're just kicking the can down the road like they always have. And with this water crisis, exactly what's going on. And I shouldn't be partisan. It should not be a partisan thing. It should be what's really going to be intelligent and effective. But no, it's political.
And maybe they should take the partisanship away from that office of Drain Commissioner, because it is such a sensitive technical issue there.
Well, I don't know politics,
I mean, look at it.
so I don't know what partisan means.
Okay, well, but he's responsible for your drinking water, your wastewater, and your water runoff. So that means all the wastewater when you flush your toilet. Right. That huge waste plant over there, he's responsible for that.
So that's the one on Pasadena? Is that where all the waste go?
Yeah, Linden Road.
Linden, Pasadena,
And the water runoff and the drinking water. And in another radio talk show, he put up his hands and said, "I have no jurisdiction in Flint," unquote, quote unquote.
What?
Yeah.
None in Flint. Yeah. So where is his jurisdiction? Since he's the drain commissioner, where is?
And Flint, you can't win that position without the Flint popular vote. Flint carries that
because he keeps winning every time he runs for something. He keeps winning.
Right. First time I got 40,000, he got 60,000. I got 60,000, he got 80,000. Finally, I had 86,000. He got 126,000. You know,
can't win.
I couldn't. It gets depressing because as a Christian,
right?
When I have and I'm retired, but I work full time on the water to help people to extend their lives 10 or 15 years, and I have to do that as a Christian. If I don't, I feel I sin. Right. So. That's what keeps me driving.
Well, they must not be Christians then, because they're not thinking nothing but the dollar. They taking our money, and that little credit they gave out to everybody. It was like everybody didn't get the same credit because they were like, well, if you pay your bill on time, you get $739. Okay, I pay my bill on time, I get $739. My neighbor, they behind, you get $300. My neighbor down the street, her bill way past over or whatever. Oh, you don't get any.
Well, the city's kind of hurting right now. They lost their water rights. They lost their gold. It used to be they sold the water to the county. Now the county.
Now they're buying it.
They have to buy that water. It used to be they sold it to General Motors.
Right.
Now the county is taking that business over, and so who is their customer? It's the inner city. That's the only they lost all their customers.
Well, because they jacked up in the head, they messing up so bad. I mean, I'm sick of the corruption myself. That's why I was just saying the other day, it's like I'm so sick of the politics and the corruption of the Flint city government. It just makes no sense how these people can just make all this money, and every deal they make, it's all about money. It's not considering what we need. And they don't want to hear it. You go down there, you know, Art had done this, saw this lady, her water bill was like $3,000 or something, and she had gotten agencies to help her pay for it, the letter you had to take and everything, and before she could get down there, they had cut her water off.
Yeah.
And she come out and she's like, well, they tell me, well, that's the wrong letter. What?
Yeah.
Well, my thing is, when people was protesting and saying we're not gonna pay the water bill, I said you need to go and pay that bill. I said because you're going to have to pay it one way or another. Well, I ain't paying it. I ain't paying it. So then they get these big $1,500, $1,800 water bills, and now you're getting a red sticker in the mail to say you got a shut-off notice. Now you gotta go out there and try to fuss up. Now you mad all over again. Well, I just chug along and I just go ahead and pay it because you're not gonna win. It's evident we're not gonna win with that. You're gonna have to pay it. So just pay it.
And if you don't pay it, they'll take your house away.
Yeah, they put it, you know, and that don't even make sense. It's like they messed up, but we're being penalized for it. Okay, I'm going to give you dirty water. You're going to pay for it no matter what. Okay, you ain't going to pay for it, we'll take your house. What kind of stuff
you
is
miss
this?
your water bill 3 months in a row.
Yeah.
But that's the law, you know? And 2 years ago, everybody knew that was the law. And nobody
they could put a lien on it. I never knew they could put a lien on your house.
You don't pay your water bill for 3 months, it's like not paying your mortgage.
I never heard of that. I know that people...
Land bank comes in, swoops it up.
And then it's another empty house sitting there waiting for somebody to do something with, or let it get dilapidated, or and then they end up putting it on the demo list. And although the years you done paid into it, it's dust now, a pile of dust. I just saw those crazy guys that cut the grass right down my street on the lawnmower. They race down the middle of the street on the lawnmowers. Now that's the land bank. They come and cut grass in certain areas over there by me. And then I looked up, I heard lawnmowers coming down the road. I told my son, I said, look at this crap. Here they come. They like was, you know, like bumper cars. I said, they ride lawnmowers. I knew it was a land bank.
There are lawnmowers.
Yeah, they ride lawnmowers like water boy or something. I had seen them over at another house cutting the grass, and they left such a mess. They cut the grass, and all the grass blow into the street. They don't clean it up. They just cut it up, and then they were going down the street to the next one. And I was just too through. I said, this cannot be happening. So I was just... Okay,
so let's put all that behind us and talk about the future. What can Flint do? What can the people do to pull Flint out of this?
Okay, what can we do to pull Flint out of this? Tell us, John.
I stood up for something. I had to take my headphones off. So what did you say?
You left at the most interesting part of it.
He said the question is, what can we do to pull Flint out of this mess?
Well, I would suggest basically stop me. I mean, you already hit upon it. I mean, take away this thing where we make the Drain Commission and other positions a politically appointed office rather, or politically contested office, and put it in the hand of experts rather than people who are with the right party, which we know in this county which one that is, and other it should be intelligent people instead of people who are just good handshakers and backslappers. That's and politicization of it is not effective. We've seen that, and that's what happens. They keep on going for the political answer, and it's not the answer. So that's what I would say.
Very good.
Does that sound right?
Big Roman numeral 1. Well, that's a big one. Mix it up.
Mix it up.
Yeah.
Get some different people in office.
Look at him. He took Stanley out of office because he was a bad mayor. Then he put him in, again, the voters did, as a state rep. I mean, that makes no sense. I mean, you're recycling incompetency.
And now he's right back down at City Hall again, doing what he doesn't need to be doing, putting his 2 cents worth in. So what's your idea of what we can do? Aside everybody move, just do an exodus. A mad exodus would be good. Cut the check, we all out.
Okay, Roman numeral 2. It's called Water Futures.
Okay.
You take a community like Atlanta, Georgia. They wrote a letter to all their industrial people that our reservoir is going down faster than it's replenishing. Of course, the hurricane probably filled it back up again, but it's going down. So we can't continue to have this industrial growth without you guys finding another source of water. So we give you 10 years and you have to find another source of water. So, remember a couple of years ago the Mississippi, I don't say went dry, but they lost the shipping, couldn't go down, the water went way down. They actually had in St. Louis their industrial people that were pulling water out, like for a molding operation where they close the dies, open it, and meanwhile cold water runs through it, and then they close it and then shoot the plastic in again, or zinc or cast iron, all the same operation. They need a lot of water. It's called non-contact water, and they stopped them from pulling it out of the river, so they can't run without the water. So it's pretty obvious to me that what we need to do is Flint hire a salesman. This kind of is the mayor's role, is to put a pretty face, which he does. She's kind of a pretty gal, but to put a pretty face on the community. And unfortunately, she got wrapped into this water thing. But it could be a blessing, because we've got if we want to elect the KWA, we've got raw water out of the Flint River, and we've got the Detroit pipeline. We've got 3 sources of water. What other community in the world has that?
So in that essence, you would say we're it.
We are it.
But
we are blessed.
Yeah, but for
so we have
reason,
to turn this around and get this blessing out. So somebody has to go down there, knock on those doors, invite them to come to Flint, and it's done through what's called a water future. $5 million, just to throw a number out, we will commit so much water for the future. And then they pick up their operation. The casting plant in St. Louis comes to Flint. They can't operate where they are. You know, about a third of the United States is arid. There's no water. And the big water table that's out in the Midwest, if you fly in an airplane over the Rockies, you look down, you see those big circles. Right. Well, those are irrigation things that go around. And you look down, and there's maybe 2 out of 6 that are green. All the rest aren't planted. There's no water. Oh. Now, not that we, although we could encourage farming, but we've got a lot of water for it. But the industrial component is running out of water. So a water future is we will commit for them the whole package. So other companies in other states need to come here to use our water. Right. And we do that through the implement of what is called a water future. It's water today, tomorrow. Water today, tomorrow. And then we work with them and bring those operations back into Flint and diversify the types of manufacturing that we have. Yeah, because we was always known for cars, but now that all the cars are gone pretty much, it's like, now what? What's Flint known for now? Well, there's a company coming into Owasso. We missed the boat on that one. It's now, I think it's Durand. They're going to hire, I think, 3,000 people. Oh, yeah, that would have been perfect for here. Building the plant. Well, they're going to use a lot of water. They need, it's a kind of a glass thing they're making. Because we have the Lear plant coming here too, isn't it? Or yeah, that is coming here. So we have to encourage more of that. Right. And water is a great tool because we still have a lot of water. And also in the process, too, in case of people wondering, with that water futures, you have available funding for bettering our water supply, right? Too, right? You would have that available, right? Yeah. Well, some of those are revolving fund loans, and they're really trying to get rid of those. Well, what about all the money that's come in that goes to places like the Greater Flint Foundation, and they said they have to give that money out to nonprofits? So how do those people come here, and how do we use any of that money? No, they don't need that money. Let's say you're a company in Atlanta and you have to look for an alternative source of water. How much money is that going to cost you? I don't know. If there isn't one, you got to go somewhere. Yeah, you got to go somewhere. It's going to cost you. So they will be paying us. Or you're going to have to put in a huge amount of equipment to recycle your water. It's going to cost a lot more than $5 million. Right. So $5 million is a commitment both ways. We're going to commit to make your water available at the quality that you command, and you're going to commit $5 million. So we build our bank account and bring these companies into Flint. There's a huge demand for that. It's called a latent demand. It's that it's not known because it hasn't been known. So
it's not known because it hasn't been known.
I've talked to an extent about with Art about this, and I'm freely giving it out.
And you should be paid for that.
And it's
it's like consulting.
So that's
your consulting fee.
That's Roman numeral 2. Now you want Roman numeral 3?
Is that the final and the best deal we're gonna get?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Come on, you got to imagine what is the latent demand?
The latent
obvious demand out there in the entire United States, and what can we do about it to help this city? That's what you got to ask.
And nobody's asking.
No, nobody's asking. I mean, why isn't my phone ringing off the hook? Why isn't Governor Snyder on my phone just pestering me? How come the mayor's not on my phone pestering me? I have no concept, So, number 3 deals with education. I don't care. You pick up your cell phone and Google water jobs. Every community around this country, I don't care from Washington to Virginia, from Florida to Flint, there's no operators. No water plant operators, no waste plant operators. Every community has feelers out there to hire these people.
So who manages the plant? They just run?
Well, Flint, I guess right now needs 12 and they can't find anybody. and they're not alone. It's endemic all over.
Wow.
Okay? So what we do, and we're putting this together, is to, regarding the $10 plan, it requires people to do installations in the home. They get training in electrical, in plumbing, sweating pipes, manufacturing, inventory control. They get all these things. For instance, the chloride running out.
Right.
So they understand how to do all that stuff. And so they become experienced workers. So we educate them. I educate them in how to pass the exams, the state exams. Okay, they get the first license at the D license. Those jobs are all over the place out here. And they start out at a living wage. It's $34,000 in that neighborhood.
Okay.
And these jobs are available. We could probably get on the phone right now with one of the operators there, the manager of the water plant, and ask them what's involved with the job and stuff like that. Take the kids to the plants, get them educated, and give them the math skills they need to calculate tank volumes and shapes and retention times and flows and dosages. They have to learn all that math and be very competent and really know it.
Math majors, you got to.
Well, these can be taught.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I don't have to do that because I would make a mess out of it.
It is not for everybody.
No, chemistry is not
for everybody. So, but they okay. So here's the seeding of a school.
Oh, that's a whole new school just for like engineers.
That's Roman numeral. No, for the kids in the inner city.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to be an engineer.
Okay.
You just gotta have you wanna work. We can get you to pass the exam and place you in Flint right now, or in wherever, Ann Arbor. I don't care where you go. Everybody has these jobs.
That would be a big accomplishment because there's so many kids walking the streets don't have anything to do. And some of them getting GEDs when they could just stay in school. Then some get out of school and they don't have anything to do. Yeah. So your phone should be ringing off the hook. Call this man. Oh my goodness, Well, as lovely as it is, we're gonna have to wrap the show up, and I could talk to you for even longer, but we do have to wrap the show up. if anybody want to get in contact with you to hear more of this, how can they do that?
Go to www.waterpharmacy.com. Waterpharmacy.com. My email's on there. Make sure you go to the second page. There's a couple of photographs that are very interesting on there.
Yeah. This has been one of my most bestest shows, and John, because like we've already done an hour and a half show, and we got more to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk again. We might have to come back again and just start with Roman numeral 4.
I would suggest that though. If he actually wants to come back in, for your show, I would encourage you to ask him back, because this is information I don't think a lot of people have gotten.
Right.
And I haven't seen it on M Live. I haven't seen it, and I've been talking. We've done. Up to this show we've done at All Points TV, we did 30-some shows connected to the water crisis. So, I mean, none of this.
Yeah.
What's your show with the filters? I did not see until today. So, I mean, I definitely encourage you to come back.
I definitely want him to come back, too. I just got to fit in between his schedule, those water molecules, the ones that bounce all around. And look, John, you notice we both got on yellow today. How does that happen? How does that happen?
I guess minds think alike. Great minds.
Exactly. But I really do, want to have you come back again and continue on, because this is so much knowledge that people don't know. I didn't know, and we're laughing and joking and stuff, but it's very educational. And I'm just like mind boggled at the stuff you're telling me that people don't know about. And like you say, the mayor and all of them, they should be calling you. The governor should be calling you. And why nobody's doing it? Do they notice and they're just not going to do it, or they don't want to do it? I mean, I don't know, but I want you to come back as soon as your schedule opens up again, and we can just start where we left off, because I know it's a lot more stuff in there that's got to come out, and I want to hear it. I want to hear it, because I'm speechless, and that usually doesn't happen. Am I right, John?
I have failed to see. I have never seen it myself.
Hey, you might just well have fun, right?
I might as well. I mean, John and I used to work together. That's how I ended up in this with him. We used to work together at U of M, and he retired first, and then I retired after that, and we've been together ever since. But this kind of knowledge is the kind of stuff that people need to know about, the chemistry side of it, because it's a lot of people that are wondering like why their water is blue or orange, or this, why they got rashes, why they're losing hair, and I'm sure you got an answer for that, because you know all the chemistry stuff of it, and everybody, if they didn't watch today, they should, because we will be like putting it up and posting it on Facebook and posting it on YouTube and everything, and I want everybody to make sure that they watch it, or like I said, go to your website, call you, and talk to you themselves, because when I saw you, I was just like, wow, this man knows his stuff. And I was just like, I mean, every time Art does a video, I have it on my phone and I'm sitting there watching it, and because he comes up with people that I never heard of. He comes up with things I never heard of, and this one thing, especially with the filters and all that stuff, is stuff that people really need to know about. So we're gonna stop today at this point, but somewhere down the line, when you get some more free time, we're going to keep in contact, and when you get some more time, I want you to come back again, because I know there's a lot more to be known, and people need to know how to get some kind of help out of this, because it's just not getting any better. It's just not. So I want to thank you, Robert. Wait a minute, Bob, what is it?
Wastewater. I got that. I used to call on all the engineering companies.
Oh, okay.
And selling waste plants and water plants, the big municipal ones.
Yeah.
So it starts with the engineering. So
wastewater.
They're the ones that
gave you that nickname.
And they're always happy to see me, because I talk the chemistry and the microbiology.
Right.
Which is really what their systems are all about, and they're more keyed in on the equipment.
Yeah.
Hydraulics.
Yeah. And see, I like to know the chemistry side, but me and chemistry, I don't understand when you're mixing letters and numbers and all that. It was always hard for me. I made sure I only took one semester of chemistry in high school, and after that I passed it and I ran. I never went back. But we do want to end up in the show today on a note saying that Bob will return. I can't say when. Want to make sure everybody watch today. We're going to be posting it as usual. And if you want to talk to him on your own, you know, you go to the waterpharmacy.com site, and you know there's information on there. So we want to end the day with saying thank you for coming in. Hope I will see you again. And it's Flaminpit, and we're out.